Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. It is Spiritual 411. I am Melissa, practicing evidential medium, spiritual life coach, and master instructor with integrated energy therapy. We do all the things because when you're on a spiritually aligned journey, whether you are someone that has always tapped into your spirituality, your intuition, your psychic ability, your psychic senses, or you're someone who maybe is just stepping onto the path. You always know that, if you followed your gut, things went well. And how do I do that more? Or how do I do that more intentionally? Right. So that's what we got going on here at Spiritual 411, kind of letting spirit drive these conversations, these episodes to give you kind of what is out there in the ethers, in the energy that will be most beneficial to you on your journey, wherever that may be. So, honestly, this is another one of those episodes where I'm going to sit here and I'm going to let spirit drive the conversation because we're in this Aries full moon energy. And this is a harvest full moon in, um, yeah, it's so funny. Like, we've got our spiritual life and then we've got like our regular life. And so harvest full moon would be like what, is deemed in the public, right? But for those of you more spiritually aligned, it is Aries, the fiery planet of Aries that is ruling this full moon. And so things are being burned away. Full moons are about releasing. I'm not an astrologer. I just read energy. So please, if you're someone that really wants more of an astrology take on things, I would definitely encourage you to, look at that, someone who can help you with that. What I'm going to do today, though, is I really want to talk about this full moon because I've been feeling it's been powerful. Shadow has been just coming from the depths. Shadow that you thought was maybe released, shadow that you felt like you had dealt with, or maybe shadow you didn't even know was there. That is what has been coming up these past few weeks. This shadow aspect of us that it's time to be transformed. And that's what this full moon is doing. It's transforming it. And the effect of that, the other side of that will be then, yes, you will be harvesting. You'll be harvesting what it is you're trying to create in your life, what it is you want to manifest. But the shadow that has been coming up, these deep rooted imprints, whether you brought it in from past life and it's this life that is another pattern or go round of what you've experienced lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And this is the lifetime to, honestly, guys, with the people that I've been working with in my spiritual life coaching or my integrated energy therapy packages, 99% of them are releasing things in this lifetime, another layer of some very deep rooted imprints that they came in with from different lifetimes. And it's been amazing to me how going into the past life and really seeing how it is almost mirroring what they're going through in this lifetime. So, for those of you who are feeling a lot of deja vu, or you're feeling a lot of like, this feels similar, this feels like I've been here before, I've felt this way before, or whether you're having dreams that are very similar to what you're going through or have gone through, however, you're kind of connecting into that shadow aspect of yourself in feeling like this isn't the first time this has come up for you. And for many, it's come up over and over in this lifetime as well, especially if you've gotten to this time in your life where you've been on the planet, more than just a couple of decades. For those of you, into your 30s, into your 40s, into your 50s, like I am, you really are starting to be able to very clearly see the pattern of the shadow that just keeps kind of coming up for you. And you'll get triggered. You'll get triggered in ways that kind of verify for you what you have felt and what you, have experienced, and it will be some will be subtle triggers, case in point, I just bought myself a, cross, um, necklace because I had a couple of other necklaces I was guided to get, for spiritual protection and, it honestly, just for spiritual protection, I was guided to get them, and I'm not a necklace wearer, I never have been, so I wear them when I go out, or I wear them when I feel like I'm gonna be in, big situations with lots of different energies. But I was guided to get this cross because I didn't have one, and I do feel a connection to Jesus, the ascended master, and I do feel a connection to Christianity, aside from, religion. And but I've been trying to wear it the last couple of days, and just something around my neck for long periods of time, there's a little trigger there. There's a little trigger of that feels uncomfortable. So that definitely takes me into, okay, something happened, right, around my neck in a past life. And my sister and I were doing some genealogy. It's kind of become one of her hobbies. Very cool to learn about, where you came from, family lineage, that sort of thing, especially for me who was not connected to my biological father or his family. Um, and so this um, lineage actually took me back to Salem, Massachusetts, where I had a direct descendant from my biological father's side had resided in Salem, Massachusetts. So I have to think that there was something, maybe it wasn't that lifetime, maybe it was a different lifetime, but definitely, lineage of, some kind of persecution where, my neck was involved. Um, Maybe it wasn't that, maybe it was, a domestic violence kind of situation. Who knows, right? Who knows? But we can tap into that if we really want to. Um, but the important thing is for this episode, maybe we'll do that in another episode. In this episode, I really wanted to talk about, these triggers and these imprints and these shadows aspects of ourselves that are really, really coming up for each and every one of us. And again, very surprising, catching us very off guard. And some of it is stuff that you have dealt with in the past and thought that you had kind of released. And some of it is coming from places you didn't really know existed. You didn't know you were harboring that emotion or that trauma. And so this full moon is bringing that up, and, so full moons, the energy of it is before, right? So 3 days before, and then the energy of it, and then 3 days after, and I have really been feeling this shadow aspect, though, for a couple of weeks. So I know that, and again, I'm not an astrologer, but I also know that Pluto right now, I believe, is in retrograde or has been in retrograde, and I feel like that has also been amplifying and bringing up these shadow aspects that we are, now coming into connection with. So these shadow aspects of, just any feeling that is arising within you that doesn't feel good. We could go through a whole laundry list of things, abandonment, threat, powerlessness, woulda, coulda, shoulda, resentment, toxic relationships, the list goes on. Lack consciousness, addiction, um, just anything that is really coming up for you, jealousy, criticism, judgment, grief. It's all feeling like next level. It's all feeling exponential right now in this energy. Because where you are on your mission, purpose, where you are in your life with regards to coming into this multidimensionality of your soul, coming into connection with Christ consciousness, your psychic ability, your psychic senses, which is your multidimensionality, being able to really tap into receiving messages from the other dimensions, your spirit guides, your crossed over loved ones, however you want to frame it. But we have to open up our capacity. We, in our human form, have only so much room to be able to hold on to the light and the dark. And for many of us, we came in with a lot of darkness, these old imprints. This shadow aspect of ourself was larger than the light aspect of ourselves, the lighter aspect of ourselves. And so in 2025, being a 9-year, there's a lot of endings that are happening in your life, and they're happening because it is now time to open the capacity up to receive more light. And you can't do that if you're allowing your space, your capacity to be filled up with the darkness, the shadow, the trauma, the drama, the lower frequencies. And I'm talking lower frequencies on the emotional chart. So the lust, the greed, the anger, the resentment, the addiction, the powerlessness. The darkness feeds on all of that. And the reason that you're having such a hard time in releasing this shadow is because the darkness is holding on so tightly. So for those who really struggle with addiction, that is really low frequency. And that is where the darkness can really feed very easily on your energy and keep you in that role. And so it's so important that not only you become self-aware of what's going on with you, where you're allowing yourself to buy into, right? I just had this, oh gosh, okay, full disclosure. Growing up, I was a very jealous person. I was very jealous. I was someone who didn't have my emotional needs met, and so I would see people around me get attention. They would get blessings, they would get abundance, they would get care, they would get support emotionally, mentally, physically, financially. And I was always doing, why not me? Why not me? I'll never forget that when Winona Judd came out with that song, Why Not Me? I was like, well, that was my anthem. That was my anthem. Why not me? People around me, potential partners, God, why not me? And it took me a long time to realize that I had to heal that. And I worked on it really, really hard, right? I really worked on being grateful. I worked on, forgiving who needed to be forgiven. And I really thought that I got through, like, I have not been a jealous person or had jealousy rise up in me in a very long time. Like, I have not felt jealous of anyone in a very long time, no matter what their circumstance, no matter what great trip they were taking, what great car they were buying, what great house they were buying, what great, partner they were getting. Like, I was doing my work, and I was very happy with where I was and where I was being compelled and who was supporting me. And I was good. But this past month, wow, there's been someone in my life who doesn't do the work, makes, like, not great choices, and all of the sudden, they're just shining. They're just receiving and receiving and receiving and receiving, and, I had the thought, "Why what the hell? I'm doing the work. Why not me? Why isn't that my road? Why aren't I receiving all those blessings? I'm doing hard work." But that's their road. That's not my road. And so I've had to really work on releasing those feelings of jealousy, um, They're not gonna serve me, and they're not gonna, get me what I want. They're not gonna help me to manifest at all. If anything, they're gonna block my manifestation, right? And so this is what this Aries full moon and this Pluto in retrograde, coming together this past couple of weeks and into the last week, 3 days prior to today, to the full moon and tomorrow. Yeah, that green-eyed monster's been rising right up within me. And it's not just the things they've been receiving, but it's, how well their children are doing, um, just all the blessings that's going on in their life, and I'm like, "Why not me?" Why can't my child be doing that well? Why can't I be receiving all those wonderful things? And I have truly wonderful things in my life, and, we're gonna keep working on, getting the people around me where hopefully, they're destined to get to. But it's their road, and I, had to surrender that a long time ago, that I can support and I can love. I can't force anymore. I can't dictate anymore. I have to surrender. And, in this energy with my shadow rising up, it has been so hard to stay in surrender. It's been so hard to stay in surrender. And so, whatever you've got going on, whatever is showing up, it's showing up because it's time to go the next layer. It's time to understand that that's an imprint you're still carrying. And I feel I have really released some imprints, at least one that I know of, one that I'm very, very sure I released the roots of it. So I know it can be done. I know that you don't have to stick in these imprints. You don't have to stick in these shadows. You don't have to stick in these traumas, in these dramas, in these dark energies, attachments, negative entities, demons, uh, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, whatever you're comfortable calling it. It is time to flip the capacity within you out of the darkness and holding more light. And that's why these shadows are coming up. That's why you're having these, for a better word, I would say tower moments for some of you. You're losing the relationship, you're losing the career, you're losing, I just started the 21-day gratitude challenge on my Facebook group, Guidance 311. If that's something you'd like to join, please go over and do that on Facebook. But I talked about that today in the live, that gratitude can really flip the script for you, especially if you're someone that is really struggling. Maybe you just started on this journey and you don't know about energy work, you don't know where to get energy work or what would be in alignment with you, what, would work for you the best. Or maybe you're someone just, afraid of stepping into opening kind of that can of worms. You're having the feelings, you're having the thoughts arise, you're having the physical ailments, the anxiety and the pit of your stomach, the cortisol spike. You're having all the things. Maybe you're overeating or you're overspending. You're getting back into those old self-sabotaging patterns. I'm right there with you, right there with you. I actually had someone bring me over an iced pumpkin cookie that looked absolutely gorgeous last night. And when she tried to give it to me, I kind of snapped at her. And it wasn't because she was being nice and giving me a cookie. It was because I couldn't have that cookie because I've just been indulging way too much, way too much. So we are human and that happens. But Right now, you're being asked to kind of flip the containers, from having more light or from having more dark to having more light. And so this is all about how much capacity we have that we can hold and where are we in our capacity. Are we holding more dark or are we holding more light? And chances are we're still holding more dark. I feel like I'm still holding more dark. I'm having these shadows arise. I'm having things come up that I thought were released, that I thought I had addressed, I had forgiven. Um, and so that is how you know, for those of you who, need support, you can start with gratitude journal. You can start with, forgiveness, but being on a healing journey, um, you are doing the ascension. You are moving your ascension. You're moving how much light you're holding. You're tipping the scale into the light, right? Into the light being the bigger capacity. And so, the other one is this concept of forgiveness that I know as humans we struggle with. I know I struggled with it hard, especially when I was younger and I didn't really understand that forgiveness was about me. It wasn't about the other person, right? I struggled with why would I let them off the hook? Why would I give them a free pass for all the dirt and dirty they did to me? And now I recognize and I've learned that it's not about them at all. They're going to be who they are. They're going to stay in that dirt and be dirty to others if they don't do their own work. And we can send them light and love, but that's all we can do. But the forgiveness is for ourselves. And that opens up more capacity on the darkness to allow more light in. And so working with Jesus, working with Jesus can help you, not the religious figure, but the ascended master, the master teacher, who's all about compassion, forgiveness, unconditional love. And so leaning into his example, leaning into his teachings is truly going to help you to release the resentment, release the anger, release the self sabotage, whatever you got going on, whatever it is, addiction, greed, lust, grief. Grief might be a whole nother episode. Yeah. But the darkness also feels on your grief or feeds on your grief, especially if you're someone who's holding so tightly onto the anger in the grief. Why did this happen? Why did this person have to be taken? Why did this bad thing, unexpected thing happen? Like really letting go of the anger and knowing that it truly is divine timing and becoming accepting of the time that you did have and not letting the anger or the resentment steal the ability to now enjoy the memories, being able to pull the memories up and enjoy them and not have them pierce your heart in pain. And that is also opening up your capacity for more light. by moving through the stages of grief, getting back into the love that you shared, and knowing that that love, that did not die. Love is a frequency, and frequency cannot be destroyed. Energy cannot be destroyed. That love is not destroyed. That love is still there. Your crossover loved ones are still there, whether it's a person, an animal. That love, if there was love shared, that love is still there. So this harvest full moon in Aries, on the heels or in the midst of this Pluto retrograde, is bringing up shadow for you to release and heal and let go of and forgive, to open up the capacity for more light, for more love. So what you're going through, just know you're not alone. You will get through it. And if you need support, you can always go to melissaalwatkins.com. You can work on me one-on-one, or you can join my monthly subscription membership, Living in Love. And with that, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your month, and we'll talk soon.